What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I hope you like this video. This is P-Valley Season 2, Episode 8. Listen, I'm way late. Episode 9 is literally about to start in 5 minutes. But it is what it is. It was that kind of week. But we're going to get this going. So the episode start off, we see Uncle Clifford and Lil Murder just the day after they had their whole moment. And both of them are in that space of what happens next. Did anything change? Do I feel different? Was it just a moment in time? And neither one of them wants to be the first person to say whatever needs to be said. So they're just kind of snapping at each other. They bring up, Lil Murder brings up the fact that they were unprotected and who you been with. And Uncle Clifford is like, well, who you been with? And, it's real awkward. And he's trying to get in touch with his grandmother at the hospital. And nobody at the hospital can give him any answers. And they basically told him, listen, no news is good news. Like, if you don't hear from us, that means that she's still alive, basically, is all that they can tell him. So he's stressed out, Lil Murder stressed out, Then we see Keyshawn, then we see Mercedes running Blackie Mile, and she runs into Maine. He out of jail, and they do their normal flirty flirt thing, and she lets him know, listen, I'm having a block party, to welcome me home. You're gonna be my date. And she kind of like, I don't know, I'll let you know, I don't know. They do their little flirty flirt thing. Then we see Mississippi meet up with Haley down to the diner. They all incognito playing spy games. She giving her the birth certificate for her and the kids, and Haley telling her, all right, I'm going to have your passports ready. Now, something in me, I feel like Haley is on the up and up as far as trying to help Mercedes. I just don't know if this is going to work. What I really predict is, because she said the way I can get you out of town is I need you to dance at the paint. Not because I need you to really come back to the paint, because I need you to dance at the paint, but we need it as a distraction to get you out of town. Like, all we got to do is tell your greedy ass husband that you're going to make 100% of the door or whatever, and he'll let you come down there. Because, of course, we know that Mississippi making money. We just don't know where the hell it's going. But anyway. At the very beginning of the episode, child, we see Mercedes can't stay on the pole, right? It looks like it's worse than before. And, I mean, at one point, we see her showing off her new routine, trying to adjust for the fact that she can't really fall from the sky anymore. And it looked like she can't even dance no more. Like, she done lost her rhythm. Like, she can't even do a twerk. And some people are saying, well, it's because that building is possessed and it's in her head because of what happened at the, last season on Murder Night. But I don't know. It's a whole lot to it, y'all. It's just a whole lot going on with that. Now, while Haley and Mississippi were down to the diner, we see a attack ad where basically they're letting us know that Andre lied about his father being dead. His daddy ain't dead. His daddy on death row. And, of course, we see Haley try to call him to find out what's up. We see, what's his name? Colin Conrad Kalikilo. We see him, confront Andre like, what the hell? Like, I told you I needed to know everything. Like, I needed to know what's going on. Why are you lying to me? And we find out that they got attack ads on Andre and on Patrice. And they was talking about Patrice's past as a prostitute and stuff like that. Now, Patrice owned it. Patrice was like, I was. She said, I done sucked a lot of and I done turned a lot of tricks and I done did what I did. But that's because the leaders of Chuckalisa led me astray. They didn't protect me. They didn't take care of me. I did what I had to do to feed my family. So she like totally flipped it. And I feel like that's what Andre should have done. Andre should have flipped it and been like, listen, because he had a conversation with Haley, and basically that's what he said to Haley. He was like, listen, it became a lot easier for me to pretend like my daddy was dead than to deal with the fact that my daddy was on death row, right? Say that. But the fact that they're not responding, and the longer it takes them to respond, the more that it's going to add validity that there's something to hide, when he needed to just go on and be honest and say, listen, this is what happened. Okay, boo, 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 blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Mississippi husband, he's still trying to get back in her good graces after he done messed up with the babies, right? It was one thing for him to put his hands on Keyshawn, but the fact that Keyshawn ain't been right ever since she found out that he been putting his hands on the babies, and he know it. as an abuser, he realizes that he's losing his hold on her. So what does he do? He buys more gifts. He comes home with some Louboutins and a size 7.5. And if you go back to her origin story, we remember that was like his claim to fame, that he could hold her up in the palm of his hand. He could hold those 7.5s in the palm of his hand. Well, she ain't a 7.5 anymore. And she said, listen, they don't fit. And he was like, but you a 7.5. She said, I done had 2 babies. Like, my feet done spread and all kinds of stuff. Like, they're too small. Take them back. And so he's like, what is it? I mean, he starts beating himself in the head and all kinds of stuff. And he's like, what is it that I need to do? What do I need to do to make this right? And she said, you can't buy me what I want. You can't buy. And he was like, well, what is it? And she tells him, I want to dance. I want to go back to the pink. Which, of course, he ain't trying to hear. But she's playing on his emotions of, this is what I want in order for you to, to get back, for you to get back in my good graces, basically. So then, Murder done went down to the funeral home to go see Big Teak. Wooda done, made him look good. And I guess they're not telling anybody that Big Teak did this to himself. They are making it seem like this was a hit, that somebody actually, got him. And so, Wooda and Murder had the conversation about what he did to Rome. And he was like, listen, let me explain something. Dude was coming for you. Like, he knew about you and Teak, and he was going to put your business out there. So I did what I had to do. Dude wasn't a nice person. And he said, every day somebody died, a baby's born. It all balances out in the universe. And Murder was like, but you didn't have a right to do that. Like, you didn't have a right to take it upon yourself to find vengeance. Which is really interesting considering how this episode ends, but we'll get there. And then Murder, I guess, tells us his story. He said, listen, he was 15 years old and he did what he had to do to help his mama put food on the table. And I feel like that was his way of explaining why, he was turning tricks. It sounds like that's what he was trying to do. But at the end of the day, anyway, whatever, moving on. But I feel like that was their way of letting us know that this is what happened, and this is why how he got, where he was. Anyway. Now we see Haley meet up with Rich White Woman again down to the beauty salon, and there was a whole lot of little racist comments thrown out. First the lady doing her hair talking about something, you in the wrong place. Don't you want to go down to Lakeisha's down the street or LaQuisha's down the street? And I was like, okay, first of all, I'm going to need you to calm down. Like, ain't nobody even talking to you, lady. And then, she asked Haley, what's up? Like, you came down here to accept my offer. And Haley was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I told you, I want $10 million. So she asked for them to be alone. So it's just Haley and Rich White Woman. And Rich White Woman says, listen, I offered you good money. Like, $5 million is good money. And I'm like, you playing. And that's what I need. And she was like, no, what you need is the pink. And I know how valuable what I have is what you need. And she was like, listen, it looked like the referendum for the casino ain't even gonna pass, much less I'ma need the pink. Much less it's worth $10 million at this point. And he was like, well, she said, well, I'm willing to take that chance. She said, are you sure? Because if you walk out of here, that's it. Like, $5 million is my last and final offer. And she said, well, I'll see you at the polls. Like, we'll take our chances. We'll do what we got to do. Now, back down to the paint, like I said, we see that Mercedes can't even halfway twerk no more. And Haley brings Mississippi in there. And, of course, everybody, including Diamond, who was flirting with Big Bodied up at the DJ booth, is looking like, what the hell is she doing here? And Uncle Clifford is like, what the hell is she doing here? Mercedes is like, what the hell is she doing here? And Mercedes can't perform. And, of course, it's embarrassing because it's in front of everybody that she can't dance anymore, including Mississippi, including Roulette and Whisper. Mississippi and Mercedes sort of have a conversation where they basically make up in their own way. You know what I'm saying? They make up the best that they know how to make up, child. And Mississippi was like, I never thought that I would end up back here. you know. And her and Mercedes sort of had that moment of, girl, like, I get it, me either, you know, because remember, Mercedes wasn't supposed to be back there either, child. And you see Mercedes is sort of having a crisis of, what do I do next? Like, if I can't dance anymore, I don't know where to go. You know, her whole dream of a gym has pretty much failed between COVID and her not making the money to be able to make the payments. It's just not where she needs it to be, you know. Uncle Clifford and Haley are just arguing. They yelling, they argue because he don't want Mississippi back, and Haley probably want to get rid of Mercedes, and they are just arguing. And you know, Clifford ends up leaving with his box full of trinkets, child. Now he's sitting in his car, he's upset, and he get to crying, and then he sees a vision of his mother in the back seat, and his mother's like, you know the rules. And you know, she says, listen, go ahead and cry and get it out your system, and then you need to come up with a plan. Like, once you get it out your system, now you got to come up with a plan. So we see Uncle Clifford go to visit Corbin. Now remember, they fell out last season. They started off friends, and by the end of the season, they had fallen out or whatever. And Uncle Clifford basically says, listen, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, Haley is a pain in your ass. Haley is a pain in my ass. Now what we going to do to get rid of her? And he was like, right now, Haley ain't even my biggest problem. Right now, I need to figure out how to get rid of damn Patrice Woodbine. Because we saw a scene where Corbin, you know, confronts his brother, and his brother is like, listen, you got me out here fighting, because he's like, what's up with the attack ass? Like, what are you doing? And he said, like, you out here got me playing, you know, fighting, an election from two sides. Like, I'm fighting Woodbine and I'm fighting Andre. Like, I don't understand why you would do that. You know what we're trying to do. If it was just one against one, then we would have better chance of winning. So Uncle Clifford tells him, he said, listen, what Patrice answers to is money. You want to get rid of Patrice, you gotta go up there with money. And so we see later on in the episode where Corbin basically gives her, you know, he makes a pledge to the church under a assumed name, but she figures out it's him, and they meet up in the alley, child, and he gives her a stack of money, and he says, listen, you know, basically this is, you know, this is what I need from you. And she was like, well, you know, what's it going to, you know, what is it, basically, what am I going to get out of this? He gives her the money. He's like, listen, it's more where that came from. Like, but I need you to drop out the damn race. You know, he said, I can be a bigger asset to you with me in the office than you want, you know, than on the other side. And she said, you know, this did start off as like a, you know, like a little joke out of spite, but now I'm actually gaining some traction and I could win this. So you really gonna have to make it worth my while for me to decide that I'm going to drop out the race. Child. So then we at Big T's funeral, honey. We at Big T's funeral. They look like they send the baby home. Nice. He was in a fire red casket. Everybody was looking casket sharp, you know. And what we find out is that old boy that got into it with Big T, he's actually taking credit for Big T's demise. And so the old heads are telling Murder, and they like, listen, you need to handle this. Like, he out here saying that he the one that did it. He out here saying that he the one that took care of Teak, and you need to go out there and handle it. Like, because again, everybody think that that's what happened to Teak. They don't know that Teak did it to herself. And of course, Murder, you know, feeling how he feel about Teak, and just, you know, like, and feeling how he feel about old boy too. You know, he like, you know, we not having that. So he like, I gotta, you know, basically, I gotta make amends, you know. Now, while this is going on, Terica done told her mammy that she done went down to Jackson and got rid of the baby. So the mammy upset, which all of us talked about that last week, about if Mercedes don't even have legal custody of that baby, how in the world was she ever able to get her an abortion? But it's a TV show, so we're gonna let it ride. And they're arguing about it, and of course they saying, you know, she's like, listen, I did what needed to be done. You know, you too busy being drunk. You ain't know what was going on with your daughter. And she was like, it don't matter. She mine. You didn't have a right to do that. And they arguing. And Terica basically is like, basically stop arguing. Mama, I'm going to go home. Like, I'm going home with my mama. And of course, Mercedes is like, wait a minute, what? Because you was calling me mama yesterday. Like, what's up? And she said, no, I'm going to go home with my mama. Y'all be easy. Y'all gotta be easy. Now, while this is going on, Roulette done convinced Whisper to go and turn a trick with the dude that said that he would pay, just to, eat her out. And they down to the hotel room, getting drunk, getting high, getting ready. And Whisper was like, I ain't got a good feeling about this. I don't have a good feeling about this. I don't have a good feeling about this. And Roulette is like, girl, you will be all right. Like, it ain't, all you got to do is lay back and pretend like it feel good. And we can roll out of here with 10 stacks. I think that's what dude was going to pay her. So he shows up. And of course, at first he wants her to leave. Wants Roulette to leave. Roulette was like, nah, that ain't happening. Like, I ain't going nowhere. She goes in the bathroom and, they do the do. And when it's time to pay, at first he act like he wasn't going to pay her. So Roulette was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. What you mean? Like, there's a problem here? And she pulls out a gun. So then dude ends up giving her the money. But he's short. He's short by like $200. Roulette was like, hold up, that's not what we agreed to. And Roulette ends up putting a gun to his head and playing Russian roulette. Her namesake, right? And of course, Whisper is upset, and she's scared, and he's definitely scared. And she was like, listen, I got a real good relationship with death. Like, I ain't scared. But I know if you don't do what I ask you to do, it's gonna be a whole lot of problems up in here. So she makes him get on his knees. She makes him suck the gun, because of course, that's what he did to her. I mean, he paid you though, Roulette. And then they make him strip down, and they end up stealing his clothes, his money, and his car. Now, in the real world, she dead. Because he know where you work, bruh. Like, it's not like he don't know who you are. You like some thief in the night. Like, he literally just need to go to your job and wait for you to get off work. I mean, he may not want to go around bragging to his friends that he got stuck up by a bunch of broads. But he ain't got to tell nobody. He knows where to find you. He knows how to find you. He don't have to tell nobody. Child, anyway. Haley go to see Andre, child. And like I said, he talks to her about, what's going on and why he lied about his daddy or whatever. And then, child, they get the flirting again. They get the flirting again, child. That's all we're going to see from them the rest of the season. Then we see Murder roll up on old boy, and he avenges Big Teek's death. You out here want to claim credit? Well, you got the response from it. And what ends up happening is that ends up sparking a whole gang war, because we go back to Mercedes' house where they're having the block party for Maine. Maine is a part of the group of the one gang that's opposite of Lil Murder. They find out that old boy got killed, and now it's a whole gang situation. So I definitely feel like that's going to carry over into, we only have 2 more episodes left, so that's definitely going to carry over into the rest of the season, that this is a whole situation with that. And then we see Roulette take the car that she stole from old boy to the chop shop, and what's her face is there, Duffy is there. And they doing what they do. And he promises to, get the car taken care of for her and everything. And then we see Mercedes talking to Maine. And she tells Maine what happened on murder night. And how she can't get rid of the feeling. How she can't let go of it. How, she really is feeling some kind of way about the situation. And she just can't, let it go. And so he tried to, make her feel better. And she was like, that ain't what I'm looking for. Like, I ain't looking for that. And I'm like, girl, you've been flirting with this man all this time, talking about what you gonna do to him when he get out, and now he about to give it to you. You ain't trying to take it, girl. So he says, okay, Mercedes, well, I hope you found what you're looking for, because that's all I had to offer. I don't know what else you wanted from me, but that's all I had for you. Anyway, and that is pretty much the episode. Let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.